Okay, this is a quick video about how I figured out to program a used PCM into an LR4 Range Rover Sport. This is a 2012. It's actually my V8 supercharged project. Obviously, you can see you got to have your little battery tender. If you don't, you're going to fall below the voltage threshold, and the SDD tool is going to yell at you, and you will not be able to complete your process. Obviously, the dongle's connected there. It's a little chilly. There's some snow on the ground. Of note, ignition needs to be on, but not obviously with the engine running. Let's go ahead and click continue. It'll figure everything out. Got a green dongle, green battery. It's actually connected. The Wi-Fi on my computer is connected to my phone. It's okay. I can run this particular version offline. Do a scan. We're going to start a new session. There we go. Of note, one thing that I have learned the hard way is if you're going to be programming modules like I am today, you got to have all the doors closed, because one of the sequences that the software will run through is a security check. So in order to do the security check, all the doors have to be closed. So there's that. It'll load itself up. We're going to go ahead and hit service functions. Let it scan all the modules. This takes a little bit of time, but it's usually pretty good. It'll blank out if you don't have the ignition into the, I guess, accessory would be the best way I have of describing it, position. You'll get a bunch of red X's. It won't be able to talk to a lot of the modules, and it'll kind of poop all over you. So again, before I go much further, this is the full disclaimer. I am not a Land Rover certified mechanic. I don't work at a Land Rover dealership. This is simply fun for me. I have the SDD tool because I decided to take on this crazy, horrendous project of transplanting an engine and a few other things. So these are just tricks I've learned along the way. Obviously, if you do anything utilizing this video as your guide, proceed at your own risk. I have already bricked one PCM, and the other PCM I actually split open to try and manually recode the chip, and that didn't work. So here we are. We're just going to program in. Turns out you don't have to do that. Let's see here. Fit it. And then we click on the recommendations tab. You see right there. Recommendations. Did it click? I don't think it did. There it goes. Or maybe not. There it goes. It's going to load up all the recommendations. Try and zoom out. I guess I can't zoom out anymore, but anyway. Okay, we select, does it have electrically operated headrest? These are not fitted. Save. I don't know a single LR4 that had electrically operated headrest, but I think it's a Range Rover or Jaguar thing. I don't know. Pay no attention to all the parts laying everywhere. I don't even have the bumpers back on. I just got the engine in before I left. Okay, so here's your left Memphis. Ended up moving. And now I'm kind of getting everything done. So here's our list of things that we can... Okay. Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, chassis, body, electrical, and then powertrain. Right here, configure new modules, powertrain control module. We're going to go ahead and run that. It basically says, if you break it, you bought it. We agree with that. And it says, ensure a new module has been fitted. That I have already done. Now, it is not a new module. That is a used module I got off of eBay. So, obviously, if it's broke, set the ignition to on, position 2, which is what we're already at. We'll say, okay. It'll initialize the system. Yep, 13.9 volts, better than 12.5, is what we're looking for. Set the ignition to off. You can see I've just got it sort of hanging here. That turns it off. Okay. And now it takes control and it runs it through. So what this is going to do is it's actually going to read the body control module. And since we're programming a new powertrain control module, it is going to default and use the body control module as its source for, this is set to on, position 2. Number 5 is live. And there you go. And let it go. So basically, it's using the BCM as its, hey, I know that the body control module is guaranteed, it's fitted to this car. So I'm going to use that to pass all the keyless information across. And as far as the configuration of the vehicle is going to come from the body control module and not from the powertrain control module, because in theory, it thinks it's a brand new module and there's not going to be any as-built or security information on there. It's just going through resolving parts for PCM System A module. Now, this is where I made my mistake with my first module. It's going to try and download and flash new software to the powertrain control module, which isn't going to work. At least it may work in your particular application if you're going like for like, as in if you've got a naturally aspirated LR4 and you're just putting a new PCM in, then it might work. In my particular case, I have a supercharged PCM going in an LR4, which doesn't have a supercharged engine in it. I have a 2010 to a 2000, I've got a 2012, but anyway, this is for the 10 to 13 LR4s. Okay, all the download parts are downloaded. We'll press the tick mark and let it go. It'll check the validity of the module security status, and it's going to go ahead and just, basically, it's going to drive for us. I hope. There it goes. And it's like you hear stuff shutting off on the dashboard. I'm not going to lie, it can sometimes be quite unnerving when all of a sudden the whole dashboard just goes blank. But it's, in theory, the computer's running it, and we should be good. All right. And there, it just brought everything back to life. Okay. All right, the module's initialized. We're back on. Everything's up and rolling. Okay. That is on. Okay, set the ignition to off. Off we go. And green tick. So now it says upload the vehicle configuration, because that's what we need to do. Switch the position to on. There it goes. Uploading the vehicle configuration from the file from the vehicle. So this is where it's sending that car configuration file from the body control module to the powertrain control module. Okay, set initial active source to the BCM, not to the powertrain. Okay. It goes through, tests all the modules, make sure they're still functioning correctly. And this is where it's going to want to download software parts and flash the PCM. And this is not what I want to do. So we're going to go ahead and X out of that. And then we're going to switch the ignition to off. Okay. And then we'll click OK. Now we're going to go back to on. So what I did is I skipped the module flashing process. And so it's no longer going to try and download the new firmware version. But it has uploaded the configuration file, and now it's going to go through, I hope, upload all the security files to it, so that way it'll talk to the keyless module. And basically what that does is now it has all the security chain is complete, and in theory, once it's done uploading all of this stuff, then we should be able to start the car. Obviously, if the security chain isn't complete, the PCM won't unlock and you can't start the car. So, and I have, as of yet, to figure out how to bypass any of that, because it would be really great to run these engines on a stand, but I can't figure out how to do that without plugging it in and having 18 different modules hooked in. And so I don't know that I'll ever. So there it goes. That's the car configuration file with the VIN of this particular vehicle. So that's the CCF going up to the PCM. And because I guess the EEPROM on the PCM modules is like a one-time write EEPROM, it's one of those where even though this may tell you that it's trying to write the VIN, the EEPROM on the PCM will not allow it to be rewritten. So set it to off. That is off. We are good to go. Okay. We hit the check mark. Okay. Configure the test. Okay. VIM, vehicle identification. We're going to make sure the ignition is switched off. It is indeed switched off. It's going to automatically control the vehicle. And there it goes. Now we kind of see and hope that it does its thing. Yeah, it's doing it. Target. So that was basically the STD tool writing the KVM fuel system free of faults. Will prime the fuel pump. It, as far as I know, it is. Switch to position 2 on. Okay. Okay. I can hear the low pressure fuel pump running, which is kind of interesting because every time you hop in and you start the car, you never hear the thing because it starts up immediately. Now, full disclosure, the gas in this car is probably 3 years old, maybe 4, not really sure. And there's not a whole lot of parts on the engine. Specifically, the intake or the mass airflow sensors are not on nor hooked in. So hopefully it'll start. Routine completed. That's what we want. Switch the ignition to off. Okay. So ignition to 2. Okay. Okay. Checking checksums. This is where it basically makes sure all the memory is good to go. The files are all written correctly and there's no errors. Checksum test successful. Yes. Switch it to off. Off we go. Okay. Switch it to on. It is on. Okay. Flight recorder data reset successfully. Okay. Switch it off. It's a lot of just on off, but whatever it seems to know. Switch it back on. Okay. Okay. Learning the vehicle identification number. Obviously, we're going to go through this process anyway and attempt to write it to this particular PCM. Because it's a used PCM, it'll go through and say that it's successfully programmed, but when you actually do an ECU scan, the VIN number on the PCM module is different from the rest of the car. Thankfully, it's because the security info has been correctly installed, it doesn't care. It just cares that the security info is correct. Now, there may be follow-on issues for this. I do not know. Again, this is part of I'm not a Land Rover tech, but it, okay. Process completed successfully. Position off. Okay. Okay, operator action. Please start the engine, allow it to idle for 10 seconds. Once complete, turn ignition off. This is where we say a quick prayer and hope that everything works correctly and that I don't have anything hanging out in the engine. Okay. There it goes. Uh-oh. It's trying. God, that gas is bad. Oh man, that gas is bad. Okay, it's running. Not happily, but it's running. I'll let it run for a few seconds. That's a lot of smoke coming out of the back. Huh. A lot of junk in there. Okay. Anyway, well, you get the general idea. It's running. Oh, miss or something. Okay. System is off. And we are complete there. Switch the ignition to on. Oops. Okay, whoops. That was supposed to be just on, but force of habit. Reading fault codes, lots of fault codes. 12, whatever. There's a lot of things missing. I got to track all those down, but anyway, you get the general idea. At the end of the day, the PCM is programmed, the car starts, and really that's the biggest issue, is you just need to make sure that that is taken care of. Then you just got to track down codes, and that's what we're doing with this sucker. Thanks for watching. That's how it's done.